this is Arlene Peck welcoming you to my show. Wow, it's Arlene Peck. And today it's one of those shows that I even dress conservatively for me. You know that. You can tell it's a change. I have a woman on. She's a brilliant mind. I'm so excited because it's not one of my celebrity movie stars. In fact, I even postponed the big star because I could get her for 2 shows. Dr. Wafa Sultan is a woman she's a Syrian psychiatrist that she burst onto the internet scene, I don't know, within the past year or 2. And it's like she changed millions of lives. Her clip, which I don't have it here, but we can show it to you. She's going to tell you how to find it. Take a look at that, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Oh, and wait, speaking of books, before we get started, I have a book that just came out of me. You notice the cover, people? Me. People are always coming on my show talking about books, and this is a book by Maximilian de Lafayette. And on the back, he says, on the front cover, the legendary Arlene Peck, moi. I just want to get that in. And there's another book that they said, and I swear to you, I don't even know these people, which is the best part because I had nothing to do with it. And this is Music, Entertainment, and Showbiz. You can get this at, I think it's at 40,000 bookstores now, also by Maximilian de Lafayette. And it's all about showbiz, entertainment, and they talk about Arlene Peck, media sensation, and now my show is in the top 10. So I just wanted to share that with you. Now, I've got really a special guest, Dr. Sultan. First of all, when I saw that video of you, can you tell me what was the link to it? How to find it?
Go to memory.
The people don't know how to find that.
Middle East Media Research Institute.
But you can click your name on it and find it
yes,
too.
Yes, you have to click. Yeah,
just click on Dr. Wafa Sultan.
Yes,
S-U-R-K-N.
on Google. Yes, you can do that. And either way.
Just click on her name, and this video will come up. Because when people sent this, to millions of people saw this. And how did you even get onto Al Jazeera to do that?
It is a long story, but let me tell you, I am a writer. Actually, I was born to write. And I published my first article 2 weeks after I came to this country, in Arabic newspaper here in LA. And I started from there, day by day, month by month. Prior to my interview on Al Jazeera, I had become a very well-known writer in the Arabic world through many...
Was this interview here, or was it over...
It was here. By satellite, yes.
Oh, no wonder they couldn't do anything bad to you, because you were safe here.
Only, I was here, but the host and the other guests were in Qatar, yes.
So they didn't show that on there. They showed you behind a desk.
So... they invited me to be their guest. Some people believe they invited me to show the West that they are balanced. They're not pure Islamic voice. But there was different reason behind it.
Well, they were ridiculing you. They were calling you...
I believe they invited me actually to defeat me because they felt the impact of my writings, my articles. So they called me to show my readers that when it comes to debate with Mullah, she cannot defend herself.
Oh, man, were they sorry?
Especially they knew I had been in the States for many years, for almost 16 years, and I wouldn't be able to speak classical Arabic language.
Yeah, right. Well, boy,
So in order to defend and to debate on national TV, you have to represent yourself.
You didn't even have to say anything. When I looked at your eyes with the fire that came out of those eyes, and you looked at those mullahs because they were, talking, and you said, "Shut up." Please repeat what you said to them, because it was like electric.
Every time it was my turn, he interrupted me. He didn't respect my time. So at the end, the host gave me only 2 minutes to summarize my ideas. When I started, he interrupted me again, and I turned to him and I said, "Shut up, it is my turn." And by saying that, I didn't know I am going to make a new history in the Arabic world.
You really did.
Yes, because, you know, first of all, there is no woman can tell a man, especially a mullah, to shut up. And second of all, to say it's my turn. In the Islamic world, women have no turn. So
you kept looking at you. Yeah. I cannot talk to you.
Yeah,
you are
so
a heteric.
This is the only way to defend his, you know, when somebody cannot logically and intellectually face your idea, the only way is to accuse you.
Well, they certainly did. Well, when you were at, I was really, it was great. A few weeks ago, I had you and Brigitte Gabrielle at my home with Shimon Abrams. I mean, the biggies, you know. And when you were there and you were talking to us at my house, and you were saying tell what happened when you were a kid and you were going to medical school.
Yes, people ask me what is the major turning point of your life, and I always say in 1979 I witnessed the killing of my teacher, and they filled his body with bullets while screaming, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allah is the greatest. So at that moment I was traumatized, and I began to search for to question what kind of God we worship. But now when I look at my past, I really see every single experience is a turning point of my life there. But at that moment I was oppressed not to express my feeling about my experience. That's why I kept it inside me.
Well, even before that, you told me about your father. I mean,
the way we've been raised, the way we've been treated, you know.
How did your father? You couldn't even touch your father. Tell that.
I told you. I still remember when I was a young girl, I tried hard not to pass by my dad while he was praying, because our prophet once said, if a black cat or a woman passed by a Muslim man while he's praying, you know, he has to rewash himself and to re-pray. Otherwise, his prayer, you know, wouldn't be acceptable. So you know.
But to grow up with, I'm saying, to have this from your father.
To feel that you're dirty. You're dirty. You're not pure human being.
And this is from when little girls, from when you're growing
up
in Syria.
At that moment, I never thought about it because I was oppressed. I was forced not to ask. But now, when I look at my past, I believe every single experience was a turning point.
Of course.
When I came to this country, I just opened my mind. And I was shocked by everything I see, the way American women are treated, and everything for me was a shock. So I
you have to reprogram your brain, like you were saying. The women, they think that they're free because they've been programmed that way.
I always say that the worst kind of slavery is when the slave is brainwashed to believe he's free. And this is the case with Muslim women. They are slaves, but they believe they are free. So it is very hard to take them, to liberate them out of their prison as long as they believe they are free.
Well, just the fact that they're walking in the burqas, you know, they sit there and, you know, I mean, how can they justify to say, oh, it's okay, it's comfortable? I mean, I've seen them walking in these things, you know, and you can't eat, you can't breathe, you can't anything, but they believe they're free, right? This is I have a choice, I want to do this.
It is not a choice. It might be a decision, but it is not a choice. I see there is a big difference between decision and choice. Decision built on consideration. And the Muslim woman decide to cover herself to avoid being called bad names, being accused of not being good women. So it's better to cover yourself and get rid of this accusation. Do you understand what?
Of course. And now they're training them to be homicide bombers.
Yes.
I mean, when children are raised, you know, when you were talking about Israel, it was wonderful what you said. Repeat what you were saying about Israel.
A woman cannot raise a fair-minded child when she herself is oppressed. A child grows up in an environment, seeing his mom mistreated, abused, disrespected, will have a damaged mind capable of cruelty. Do you understand?
Of course I understand. When things like beheadings become commonplace.
In order to recreate a new generation with a new mentality, with a new process of thinking, you have to change the mentality of women there. You have to liberate them of their religious and cultural enslavement.
And it's all over. You know, people, they think it's like a rack or something. This is what I sit there and I think to myself, with the mentality we have, it's not just a rack. I mean, it's a whole culture.
Yeah, it is. It is not easy to quickly change this mentality.
Oh, it's going to take 50
this
years.
Mentality has been shaped throughout 1400 years. Yeah. So you cannot change it overnight. It takes generations of fearless and open-minded people to cause any improvement.
But you know, you said like the entire culture is based on submission.
Yes, you have to.
It doesn't mean peace. Islam doesn't mean peace.
No, Islam means surrender. And Muhammad wanted his follower to surrender to his teachings, claiming it's from God. So that's what Islam means.
And like I've been saying for so many years, I say when they get it's not, Israel has nothing to do with it. When they get the Saturday people, they're going after the Sunday people, and this is what's happening now. Yeah. And I mean, you know, when you were telling me about how anything that happened was the fault of the Jews.
That's, you know, the way we've been raised to believe everything.
I want you to tell my audience there, because they don't know. But I need them to hear from someone like you what you've been raised about the Jews and the Christians from the Muslim world, where the mentality
We've been raised to believe that our, you know, suffering is because of the Jews. And when I came to this country, these ideas interfered with my life in America for many years. Believe me, I still remember the first week I came to this country, I went to Hollywood. My husband and I, we went to Hollywood, and we entered a shoe shop. And yeah, the salesman looks Middle Eastern. So my husband asked him where he was from. You wouldn't believe, Arlene, when I heard him saying, I am a Jew from Israel, I ran outside without my shoes. My husband went after me, you know, screaming, idiot, what did you do? I said, he's a Jew, he's my enemy, I cannot tolerate him. So this is the way.
You said your mother would drop a cup.
Yeah, if we, because of the Jewish. Everything behind the Jews. So this is the way we've been raised.
So what happened when you were on the Al Jazeera, and you've got to go to Dr. Wafa Sultan and click on her name, because I want you to see this video. But when you talked about...
I didn't expect this kind of questions. I really didn't. And, you know, they totally shifted the subject.
Of course.
They told me
wanted
something...
you to be an idiot.
Yeah, told me something, and they asked me totally something different. But I said what I believed, it was the truth. I believed in it. That's why I said it. And now I am accused by many Muslims that I was bought by the Jews. And when I had this interview, I didn't expect anybody in the West to hear what I said.
But don't you understand?
I said it because I believe in it. That's why I said it.
There's 1.6 billion Muslims out there today.
Yes.
There's maybe, and we know each other, there's maybe a dozen of you that speak out.
You would be surprised.
I would.
If you know how many women like me. I am not the only one.
But you speak out. I've asked so many times, when they'll have like the Million Man marches and things, and you know, when they did cartoons and you had millions of these lunatics out there screaming jihad, kill, kill. And you know, I sit there and I think to myself, when they have beheadings, forget the Million Man march, Where is 150? Where is a 25-man march? There is no such thing out of 1.6 billion people to have a march against to say this is dysfunctional. So you are one of the few that say this is not a culture, this is a sickness.
It is a sickness. It is. And, you know, I realize that the Western culture fails sometimes to comprehend the danger of some Islamic teachings.
Some, all.
And it fails to, you know, to identify this teaching as the roots of the terrorism threatening the whole world.
And they're counting on that. You know, people with a barbaric mentality, but they're very clever, so many. I'm just saying, you know, and they're counting on us to be stupid. And we are. I go on so many radio shows and people ask me, who out there in Hollywood is supporting Israel, that understands the situation, that is, you know, not just Israel, but supporting the cause, really.
Yes.
And to them, it's like if you give everybody a hug and we negotiate and stop all wars. I mean, explain to them that this is impossible.
You know, I don't think, for you it makes, you've been raised in this country, for some people it makes sense that treating others with respect and love is going to change their mentality. But I don't believe this way will work with the Muslim mentality. It's very hard to change it. By doing this way, you have to face the problem.
Yes.
You have to
like
be
a roach.
strong
You have to
enough.
bring in roach power and get rid of it.
You have to be strong enough to face it.
Yes.
The whole world is in a big crisis now, and the whole world has to unite in order to effectively solve this problem.
But I mean, it's not going to be, because we send over fighting machines, you know, our Marines, and they're trained, and they're soldiers in the Marines, and they go over there. They're not fighting. They're fighting terrorists.
Yeah.
They're fighting. I was in Beirut during the war.
Yes.
In June of '82. I spent 5 weeks, folks. And I was in Beirut, and I was there with the Israel Defense Force. I went in as a journalist, and I would see. I mean, there's Israeli soldiers. They're soldiers. They're fought to fight as men. These people were fighting. They come out like roaches. You know, by dark, you had to be back across the border. You know, on the Israel side, because they come out as terrorists and they bomb. That's all they know, like a bomb. They can't count. They can't make a productive living. The Palestinians, so-called Palestinians, their entire career has been aid as being victims. Would you like to discuss some of this? I mean, this is, because when you went on, I loved it, what you were saying about the Nobel Prize winners.
Oh, yeah, when, you know, some people accuse me, as I said, of being manipulated by the Jews. I always say I am manipulated by facts and statistics, because the world Islamic population is approximately 1.2 billion.
I thought it was 6 now.
Which is close to 20% of the world population.
Yeah.
And only 6 of them have won the Nobel Prizes.
And one was Arafat, so we know how good that was.
One of them was Arafat.
And one you said wasn't really a Muslim. He was I forgot what he was.
I really don't know about that. While you know,
you go in the Jews. I mean, it's hundreds and hundreds. What you were saying?
Yeah, the Jewish, the world Jewish population is approximately 14 million.
Yeah.
And over 130 people of the Jewish community have won Nobel Prizes. So when throughout my interview, when I compared between the Jews and between the Muslims, it was a big blow in the Arabic world, and they didn't appreciate it.
That's just too bad, darling. Because you
facts are stubborn.
But you can't fight. That's what I'm trying to say, is when you're dealing with a mentality like this, you can't fight with facts. The only thing they understand is power. power, maybe I'm wrong. You tell me, but I believe this mentality, they understand power. Your gun is bigger than my gun. You know, I can, you got the class bully that comes in to steal somebody's lunch money, and if you fight back and you beat them up, you know, then you win. How does it work?
You know, I believe the only solution for the, not the only, but the major point is, you know, the Islamic world needs major reforms with respect to three areas. The Islamic countries must grant their citizens the freedom of belief. Muslims must be able to freely practice Islam and to freely reject it without the fear of being killed or stoned. Second, Islamic countries must grant their women equal rights as those granted to their men.
They treat their farm animals better.
Yes, yes,
fact,
of course
I have
they
an
do.
article, if you go on the internet somewhere, there's an article I wrote called Arab Women and Farm Animals. They got me in a lot of trouble, but I said they treat, and what was the third thing?
The third, Islamic countries must grant the non-Muslim citizens equal rights.
It's never going to happen. It's not in the Quran. And what does the Quran say? If you're not one of them, they must be killed. Is that correct?
Yes, yes. Either,
and this
you
is
know,
Christians and this
to
is
pay,
Jews.
you know, special taxes, to convert, or to be killed. No other choices.
And this doesn't mean Jews, folks. It means Jews too. But I mean, for the Christian community right now, I'm working. There's a Christian Israel nexus, and a lot of the ministers, the pastors, and stuff. We kind of connected. And I was trying to do an off branch of people in Hollywood. You know, made it bland. You can be left, you can be right, Republican, Democrat. You know, Hollywood against terrorists. But what started this was so many of the ministers went over to Bethlehem, which was always a Christian community, you know, 85%, and now it's down to what, 3%?
I have heard, yes.
3%.
Ramallah used to be 85%, and now they're only 3%.
And do you know why? Because they go in there and they take their houses and they say, you know, they want to show they paid for it, right? So they come and we're giving you this much money. Give us your deed to your house. In case there's ever a question, they could prove they bought the house.
I really don't know
and
how
they give
it
them
goes.
this is where the ministers found out when they went over there, and they say, give us your house. They give them like nothing, but you know, we got the deed, and if you're not out by Tuesday, you're dead, and they kill them.
I'm not sure of that.
Well, this is what the ministers were saying when they went over with Christian groups, and the few that were there were telling them it's happened. So the Christians now are concerned finally because it's them too.
Yeah.
What do you think is going to happen? We got so much to talk about, but we got to do another show. But anyhow, what is your feeling that can happen as far as for the Christians? Was there any hope?
You know, we have to have hope. The picture doesn't look very rosy, but we shouldn't give up hope under any circumstances. You know, we have to be optimistic in order to fight and in order to make a change.
Optimism is going to do nothing. Right?
Exactly, that's what I mean. You know, we have to be optimistic
and fight dirty, because this is a mentality that is counting us.
Very
politically correct
here in the States, unfortunately, and in Europe. You know.
Well, there isn't more Europe. That's what I'm saying. Europe, because they were so politically correct.
I believe in Europe the situation is much worse. The awareness, you know, is higher here in the States than it is in Europe.
Well, because those of us that aren't total morons can look and see there is no more Belgium, there's no more Paris. London is on the way out. I mean, this is true.
Yes.
And thank God we've got it. You know, got here. Oh my God, there's so many things I want to talk to you about Islam and the treatment of infants and sexual abuse.
You know, I believe there are many disgusting fatwas and teachings in our Islamic books, but sometimes I just consider it as garbage. You know, I don't want
to. But it's in there.
It is in there, and we are suffering of it.
And
it is in it, and it's. You feel like ashamed even to discuss it.
But you told me in the Quran, how one, we have to wrap up, but I want you to tell me about one word, how you transfer one word from Arabic to it's fast, you got 30 seconds, but from one word, how they can change the meaning.
Yeah, because, Quran is banned. We're not allowed to translate it to any languages. Only it has to be in Arabic. So they said the meaning of our holy book, they don't translate word by word. So the damage by the Islamic teaching is really more done is in the Arabic world.
But what we
because
see,
we know it word by word, but when I meet non-Arab Muslims, I don't see they know much about Islam.
And what we see is so totally different than what that they're hearing.
Like the word kill in Arabic, we translate it to fight, and there is big difference between kill and fight.
There's so many things. I hate we're ending because I got so many more questions, but we will continue. And you out there, folks, I know you learned. I mean, when this woman opens her mouth, and please go find her website. Click on my name, Arlene Peck, and you'll see a bunch of things. I'm banned from Google for politically incorrect. You'll see all that on the internet. And keep coming back to my show. And wow, it's Arlene Peck.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you.
See?
Thank you.
I told you it was going to be.
So now we're.